a great leader in labor that is not here this evening. My 8th grade social studies teacher, Neil Sorkin, a great and basic leadership in local labor. Unlike some of the other people we've heard here tonight, I don't come from a union family. My first union experience was as an 8th grader at GSLC, where my class was part of a collective bargaining exercise, and they elected me to be their chief negotiator. And Mr. Sorkin was the owner of the bakery for which I was negotiating. So that was my first union experience. I'd like to think he had something to do with my being here this evening. So let's think of Neil, who was not well enough to make it tonight. All right. I thought that this was a place for Jerry. Oh, it is? Yeah, every picture, Jerry, you're in. That big, bald, beautiful head. All right, sisters and brothers, on behalf of the local leaders that are here with me this evening, and I'd like you to stand, NYSUT members that are here with us this evening, please stand and recognize. On behalf of these local leaders that are here with us this evening, on behalf of the NYSUT officers, the board of directors, and our 600,000 members, we represent the New York State, and I want to express our deep gratitude to the Greater Syracuse Labor Council for its recognition of the monumental struggle our members face as educators and as unionists. While the recognition of this body is a great honor, we know that organized labor is a big tent. We know we haven't been the only ones to struggle this past year, and we know that we don't struggle alone. We know that when one of our brothers and sisters in labor is harmed, we are all harmed. And we know that NYSUT's fight is your fight. Obviously, the battles we wage for quality schools benefit all of society. When your child's school is adequately resourced and their teachers are valued and respected, we all win. But it can't go without notice that NYSUT's fight these days has gone far beyond the classroom as we battle existential threats from the state and the Supreme Court that not only jeopardize the security and dignity of our members and retirees, but threaten the very future of our organization, perhaps even the future of organized labor altogether. For those in this room who are far removed from the classroom experience, and for those who work in other fields and professions, perhaps the battle being waged against our public schools isn't obviously relevant to you. But as unionists, we must remind ourselves of our shared values. We must remind ourselves of those core values, like our belief that all labor has value, that all labor deserves dignity, respect, security, and above all, the right to democracy in the workplace. Your right to that workplace democracy, however, to organizing and to collective bargaining, may soon be on the chopping block. For example, are you aware that the New York State Legislature approved a school receivership model for schools deemed to be ineffective, failing? The litmus test for failing, by the way, is performance on state exams that the governor himself called, what were the exact words? Meaningless this past July. This law allows schools in your district to be put under the leadership of a receiver, and it essentially gives the Commissioner of Education, a political appointee, the authority to summarily disregard the collectively bargained contracts that are in place at those schools. Let me repeat this. The New York State Legislature passed a law last year that gives the state the right to rip up a binding collective bargaining agreement. So let me ask you, what is your contract really worth? When ours can be summarily dismissed, disregarded, and unilaterally overridden. What's worse, this law flies in the face of not only democracy in our workplace, but democracy in our community. We must all be very concerned when our friends in Albany, take such unprecedented steps to usurp local control from the boards of education you elect local education policy that directly impacts your children, your grandchildren, your neighbors and friends. In this way, such a law impacts all of us as laborers and as citizens in a democracy. And we all need to make reforming and or repealing this insidious law a priority of our respective unions and their members. To that end, we will be working hard to ensure that all NYSUT members are registered to vote this year, and we'll be asking them to sign a pledge to do so. With our collective voice, let's give our good friends in Albany the mandate they need to do what's right for New York workers and their families. When it comes to politics, sometimes I fear that we're the United States of amnesia, and sometimes I think that some of our elected officials, President Trump included, count on that. All right? We must ensure that our members and community partners take notice, stand up, and most of all, that they remember in November. Some will say that we need such laws because our schools are failing, but don't you be fooled by that rhetoric. Schools aren't failing, schools are struggling. They struggle under the weight of an unfair and inequitable tax code and school funding policy that has left schools and the professionals within them without the adequate manpower and resources needed to provide kids with the best education New York can muster. Schools are not struggling because of teachers and the working conditions they negotiated in good faith. They struggle because of flagrant federal deregulation, Wall Street greed, and an economic collapse that kids, parents, and teachers did not cause, but for which they are expected to bear the burden every day. I couldn't be more proud to be part of this struggle, to be part of the union that is the only thing standing between wanton corporate greed and the deserving children of the state of New York. In closing, I want to extend gratitude to all of our brothers and sisters in labor who have stood with us this year. While our schools and the House of Labor took many hits and have much work to do, we have achieved great victories and legislative movement that would not have been possible without you and your members helping to amplify our message. Whether you attended a community forum, a rally, participated in a letter-writing campaign, or a picket, know that not only do we appreciate these acts of solidarity, but we understand that if those of us in the labor community, don't support each other, our shared values face extinction. On behalf of the members of NYSUT, we look forward to working with you this year, forever and always, to ensure that those values endure. Thank you.